If you're trying to get an instant approval with American Express, let me tell you, most of the time it has nothing to do with your credit. Now, does your credit play a factor? Absolutely. But there are 5 things that people are not even aware of that can actually get you a denial instead of an instant approval. Now, in terms of trying to get any American Express, I would tell you the one card that may be the most challenging one is the American Express Centurion, the black card, right? Because who wants to pay $5,000 or $10,000 when the platinum card can do the same thing, right? That's just a little inside secret that I'm sharing with you all. A thing about it that you all need to understand, that if you understand these 5 things and work on fixing these 5 things, you can get any American Express card, okay? So that being said, the first thing that you have to take into consideration is your income. Income plays a big factor in with getting an American Express card, okay? Now, what ends up happening is that your income may be too low. All right. So what I mean by your income may be too low. So if you're a person on disability, person on welfare, okay, that's what I mean by income may be too low. Or say that, I'll give you some numbers. All right. So say that your income is less than $45,000. All right. This may create a challenge for you being approved. All right. So just to give you some type of idea in terms of about the income. Now, can you fix the income? Absolutely. Because although you may be on disability, you may be welfare, but you may have other income in the household, right? You may be renting out a room or something like that that's producing income. Or you may have a little side hustle and stuff that you're not claiming taxes on or whatever, but you are making income. You know, and by the way, if I were you and you were on disability welfare and you have a side hustle, I would probably structure the business and just make it a full-time thing. That being said, that yes, you can actually fix the income. All right. Now, here's another thing in reference to the income that people do not understand. If American Express cannot verify your income, that's right. If they go in the system and they check and they cannot verify your income, meaning that they can't get access to your bank account, they can't use Plaid, they may use Decision Logic or whatever. Most of the time they go off of stated income, okay? But they do have systems, financial systems in the background and stuff that lets them know. All right. So if they cannot verify your income, then that itself can also get you denied. Now, I'm going to tell you some of the easiest cards that I would go for if I was trying to get into American Express. And there's a reason that I would want to go for these cards. Now, the American Express Blue Cash Everyday card. Why that card? Well, here's the thing about it. With that card, it's 0% interest on purchases for 15 months. 0% interest, okay? So that means that when you go out and buy something, you have 15 months where they're not charging you any interest, all right? So that's the first one. Then you have the regular American Express Blue Cash card, okay? So this one gives you 12 months of 0 interest, all right? Now, here's the thing about it. A lot of people, when they join American Express, they're focused on getting like the American Express Gold, the American Express Platinum. These are dangerous cards, and I'll tell you why. Here's the thing about it. With the American Express Gold and American Express Platinum, granted, they do charge an annual fee, but people don't know about the hidden thing about it. Since these here are charge cards, okay? Since these are charge cards, if you use $1 and it reports to the credit bureau, then it looks like your card has been maxed out, and that can drop your credit score, okay? So that's the reason those cards are so dangerous. Now, do they have benefits? Yes, especially if you're traveling. You know, if you're a traveler like me and stuff like that, renting cars, have to jump on a plane, have to get hotels and stuff, it does have benefits. But because it is a charge card, these are the type of things that can actually hurt your credit file if they're not paid off in full every month. Now, they do have a component in these cards, and I'm going to tell you something that most people don't realize as well. They do have a component in the cards. Like, say that you're approved for $25,000 on your charge card, right? Then you say, okay, well, I want to set aside $5,000 or $10,000 I'm going to be spending. Now, they would set that $5,000 or $10,000 up. They would set that up on a revolving. Okay, so it'll report as a revolving, and they usually give you about 6 months to pay it off, right? Now, anything beyond that $5,000 or $10,000 you set up on the revolving, then you have to pay that off in full as a charge account. Okay, so you have to make sure that you understand this. Now, here's something that can actually make you lose your American Express card, and then I'm gonna get back to the list. Here's the thing about it. You get an American Express Platinum card, all right? They already told you what your spending limit is up to. So it's not unlimited. That's not true. You have an actual spending limit that they give you, okay? So say that, again, they give you $25,000. Now, here's the thing about it. If you go check on that spending limit multiple times, say 3 or 4 times in a row, what ends up happening, it will trigger the system to do a financial review. All right. And so what that means with this here financial review, what ends up happening is that now you not only have to produce bank statements, you have to produce taxes as well. Okay. Especially remember, because if you're going in as stated income and that you get approved and you start just utilizing the card, and that's another thing I'm gonna tell you that will get your card closed down. But if you want to know your balance or whatever, it's better so that you won't risk it getting your card closed down for checking what your spending limit is. Just call in and ask them, hey, you know, I'm in the process of doing XYZ. Would you tell me what my spending limit is? All right. Now, here's another thing that will also affect you as well. Say that they do give you $20,000 and say that you max that card out every time, but you're paying it off every month. All right. This is also would trigger a financial review. All right. So when they trigger that financial review, like I said, they're going to want to see bank statements and they want to see taxes. If you cannot provide those, they will not unlock that. Now, they'll give you a special agent specifically for you to deal with this. All right. But if you max that card out, when you first get that card out on purchase it, even though you're paying it off and stuff, they look at it as you're recycling just to get the points. And because they look at it as you recycling just to get the points, then what they're going to do, they're going to ask for that financial review. So that's the reason why I tell people, do not max out your credit card because it will throw up a red flag. All right. So that's something that you guys really need to know. Now, getting back to this list, the third thing that you need to understand is that you may have too high of a debt to income ratio. So what I mean by that, with most financial institutions, since American Express is a tier 1 institution, right? Many tier 1 institutions, their income, debt to income ratio is usually between 55% max. Okay. So usually when you have a higher debt to income than that, they will deny you. Now with PenFed, you go over to PenFed, their debt to income ratio is 60%. Now with some of the third party creditors and stuff, they will give you a credit card or something like upgrade or whatever, and theirs is up to 75%. All right. But they're with tier 1 banks, most of your tier 1 banks, they are 55%. All right, so your debt to income ratio is definitely one of those ones. Now, here's another thing. The fourth thing is that you applied for too much credit at one time. You was on a credit card shopping spree, meaning that you was applying for multiple credit cards all at the same time. And because you was applying for multiple credit cards at the same time, so you have all of these recent inquiries, okay, that are on the credit file. So they look at your Experian credit file and they see these multiple inquiries and stuff from different institutions. This throws up a red flag. Now, here's the thing about it. You may have been in the market to shop for a car, and that's the reason that you have these multiple inquiries on your Experian file. Now, with that being the case, then you would have to call in to the reconsideration line and say, hey, these here are auto inquiries. These are not your revolving credit inquiries. These are auto inquiries that they put on there. So that was not my fault. They shopped my credit report around. Once you explain that to them, now this will also help you get approved, because now they know, hey, this here is not from, even though it may have been from Santander, it may have been from Chase, may have been from Capital One, right? So, but they're auto inquiries. They are not revolving credit inquiries, right? So now you actually have a true argument to let them know, hey, these are not inquiries from credit cards, all right? So that's something that you can actually help clear up the situation. Now, number 5, and this is very important, and a lot of people are not even aware of this, and I had to explain this to a client the other day. They went and they applied, right? But they got denied. 800 credit score, again, didn't have recent inquiries, didn't have high debt and stuff like that. But one thing that was creating the problem was that their address, because they had recently moved. So when you move, the address on the application, if it's not matching the address that's on your credit file, this can get you a denial, automatic denial. So it isn't that you did anything wrong. It's just because that address that's in the system is not matching the address on the application. Now, in that case, sometimes you can call and you can just send them over like your driver's license, a recent utility bill and stuff like that to verify that, hey, this is my new address and stuff. Now, another way to actually fix this is with the major credit bureaus. They're picking this stuff up from third-party credit bureaus, financial credit bureaus like Clarity, which is owned by Experian, DataX, which is owned by Equifax, Factor Trust, which is owned by TransUnion. Those are third-party bureaus, and LexisNexis, okay? So especially LexisNexis. So what you would have to do, you would have to update your LexisNexis information. Once you update your LexisNexis information, then you update your information with the major credit bureaus, okay? Because all the major credit bureaus, if you say, hey, this is not my accurate address, this is not the address that should be on my file, this is my newest address or whatever. Now, here's the thing about it. With them, they're just going to go back to LexisNexis, okay, just to verify the address. So that's the reason you should start with LexisNexis, all right? Now, in terms of also the employment that's on it, so if you don't have any employment on the credit file, this also can throw up a red flag as well. All right. So I just wanted to make this video to show you that it's not always about the credit score. You can actually have these other factors that are actually stopping you from getting any American Express card. All right. So if you have any other questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off the credit, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.